Who doesn't love a little nostalgia? Good morning, good life. Welcome back to AmyTV, where we come together to help you go after the life you want. I'm back in my dressing room. I thought it would be the most appropriate place for me to get back to my childhood a little bit. And much like I think most people in quarantine, my parents cleaned out their entire basement and then dumped a bunch of stuff at my house that is mine. Oh, it's falling off my lap. That is mine. Keepsakes from my childhood. As I was sorting through them, and I actually kind of show some of the crazy stuff in Amy Landino offline on my vlog channel, because I had like my old Backstreet Boys poster from my wall was somehow still intact in this stack of things. Anyway, one of the things I found was a little project from the 7th grade, and I don't even remember what the project was, but it's already so goofy right on the front of it. It's essentially like a binder scrapbook of like expressing myself, and I was so original. It's called My So-Called Life as Amy Schmidauer, and my English teacher made sure to call me out on that, like, really original, Amy. Like, sorry. The front of this binder already is so insane. Like, I can connect. I still sign my A's like that. Queen of Hearts. Sup. I was obsessed with Adidas, and I was obsessed with Tommy Boy. There is a random business card on the front, which I am quite unclear about my motivation of that. It says Magical Expressions of Philip Kaiser. Award-winning entertainment for all occasions. No idea who that is. No idea where this business card came from. But maybe it's because I wanted a business card someday. We're going to go with that. And then you have like a ticket for the Wow Family Fun Center. I'm sure that redeemed nothing but maybe like a sucker for like playing skee ball for too long. And then there's 2 fortunes on here. The first one says, you will travel to many beautiful places, which I definitely feel like came true. I have been to so many beautiful places. And the other one says, your dreams are never silly, depend on them to guide you. So, off to a good start. But the really funny thing that I found in here was one of many pages. By the way, you do not want to see this. It is so random. There's poems, there's like pictures of my friends from 7th grade, production of Cinderella, and I was a part of that. I don't even know. This is so weird. I think I actually added things after I made it too. Maybe not. Maybe this was 8th grade. We're gonna go with 7th grade. 7 is probably more accurate. But anyway, so there's like loads of pictures of my brothers, some random recipe, the heartthrobs that once were heartthrobs. So many magazine cutouts. Oh my god, I have so many magazine cutouts. But I found this page, and it says Amy's Rules for Living. And it's next to this page of me and my brothers and my sister. But Amy's Rules for Living. So I thought it would be interesting to see how many of these have lasted the test of time. So let's dive in. Amy's Rules for Living, number 1. Get at least 8 to 10 hours of sleep every night. Well, we're not on the side of 10, but it's very good to know that I cared a lot about sleep as a young lady, as I do now. I'm right around the 7.5 mark. I like 8 sometimes, but I notice that if I get too far beyond 8, I feel really tired. Plus, just the schedule that Lucy's on, I'm not really sleeping past 8 hours. It's just not gonna happen. But 7.5, so I think I've done pretty good in terms of caring about my sleep, continuing to get as much sleep as possible, and making sure that I stay healthy with my sleep. So that was rule number 1 for me. I'm so entertained by that. I think that's fantastic. Rule number 2 is just going to give everyone a kick in the pants, okay? Never go a year without a calendar. So clearly, early on in my life, in 7th grade, I was taking calendar blocking and time batching very seriously. I was obsessed with maybe time and calendars and writing on calendars and planners. I've been a planner obsessed person forever, but I just thought that was so funny. It was like, never go a year without a calendar. I have a feeling I was talking about like the wall calendars you hang up and you just change it every every month because I would always write on those. I would add stickers to those. I would put like things that happened on those calendars, and I'd have one hanging up in my room. But I was like, really? My rules for life in 7th grade, and I was already talking about calendars. And I just think it's so funny because I think of like all the young people that come to me and say they find my YouTube channel because of calendar blocking, and I'm like, why are you calendar blocking? You're so young. But clearly it's just like a thing just like me when I was younger, and I just think that's so funny and entertaining. So rule number 2, never go a year without a calendar. I can't even go an hour. Rule number 3, don't like something because someone else does. This has gone on to be the tagline of my life. like it's to the point where sometimes I think I'm like a Gretchen Rubin rebel on the scale of accountability, because if someone tells me to do something or somebody says this is really, really cool, I'll be like, ooh, I kind of like don't want to like it now, or I don't want to do it now because I like being different. I think that this was a really good reminder for me, especially at that time when you're in middle school and you're struggling so much with like friendships and people. Just because everyone's wearing Abercrombie and Fitch and you can't doesn't mean you should like it just because. So that was probably what I was doing, was making myself feel better about the things. Rule number 4, don't let the opposite sex interfere with friendship. I think I did a pretty good job of this. I've never been in a situation where I liked somebody that one of my friends liked. More the issue is that just like friends in general, it was kind of hard to like find those like key best friends for a long time in my life because people just come in and out so much. And then I changed a lot throughout my life in terms of what I took seriously and what wasn't important to me. So I'm very grateful that I'm pretty clear on friendship now in my life, but I definitely am even more grateful that like a guy wasn't going to interfere. I think the worst thing that could happen is just when you know somebody's not a great guy to your friend and just being really careful about that. It was more about that than it was like, I like him too. It was more just, how do you tell your friend like to learn on their own, to find ways on their own to learn that like they're not with the one, like that person's not being good to them. But I would say that's it. But don't let the opposite sex interfere with friendship. Rule number 5, keep in contact with long distance family and friends. I think social media made this a lot easier for all of us, so we can kind of check a box here. I have family in Arizona. I have family in California. I have friends that have moved all over. I still talk to them, but it's just, you know, my best friend from like 5th grade, 6th grade moved to Texas. So we've been kind of Instagram DMing a little bit. My old friend Lewis is in Chicago. Like, I still talk to people, but social media helps this a lot. So the key is making sure people don't fall off your radar. You've got to stay in touch. So I love that I was already thinking about my networking and relationship building in 7th grade. Number 6, keep natural hair color. Okay, well, I think we've done okay on that front. You know, I'm trying to keep it pretty natural. I've lightened the ends a little bit, but we're toning that down again, just trying to get back to a natural color. But if you look at pictures of me as a child or much younger, before I started dyeing my hair, and I've only really been dyeing my hair in the last like 7 years or something because of grays. I like my hair color. I'm never really thinking, ooh, I want to change it up. I'm more just thinking, how do I keep it looking like clean, I guess. I don't know. Dirty and clean is more the issue over here when it comes to hair, not color. Number 7, rule for living, get an A in physical education. That was aspirational and never happened. So, boo hiss. Still hate it. Still hate it. Do it all the time. Physical education is important, but I hate it. Number 8, always have a positive point of view as well as negative. I'm like, comma, as well as negative. I love that I wrote that because I think what we're calling that is even keel. I think we're saying always just see both sides. I think that's what I actually meant to write. Not always have a positive point of view and a negative. I think it's good to see both sides and think, what's the best case scenario? What's the worst case scenario? But I was clearly thinking about positivity a lot because I needed it at that stage of the game, as we all do, I think. Rule number 9, rely on aspirin. First of all, this is just hilarious because I don't take aspirin. I pretty much never have. Maybe like my mom would give me like children's Tylenol or something, but I don't know. Like I've always been an Advil person, so I don't think that's aspirin. I think it's ibuprofen. More of an Advil kind of girl. And I don't know why I needed to rely on it. It's not like I've ever had chronic headaches or never had chronic pain. I've never had, I mean like maybe a headache. Maybe I found it miraculous whenever I would maybe get a headache when I was young that Advil would take care of it. Still relying on it to this day for those very things. So definitely relied on it last night because I had an entire bottle of wine. Here comes Abercrombie and Fitch again. Number 10, if you plan on going to college, don't spend your life savings on Abercrombie and Fitch. First of all, this did not age well. Second of all, here was my big thing when I was younger. I could tell that like there were friendships in place based on what kind of clothes you wore. That was so obvious. Like, it felt like royalty. You could just tell who the royals were because if they had an Abercrombie and Fitch shirt or an Abercrombie and Fitch pair of jeans, like jeans, oh my God, like you're loaded, right? But if you had an Abercrombie and Fitch shirt, like even if you rotated the same one every 3 days, it was like you could talk to certain people. And I was not one of those people because my parents found that Abercrombie and Fitch was unreasonably priced, which, to be fair, probably was. Now, go to the outlet mall and get me some Adidas tearaway pants. We're in business. So that's what I looked like in middle school. I had this aspiration that it was like, I at least need to know what it's like to dress like that because there must be some kind of magic that happens when you wear that. And I think that that's where a lot of like scarcity issues happened for me. And now my obsession with fashion and dressing the part and what that looks like. I'm not like a fashion person here, but I actually find it to be one of my favorite hobbies as long as, you know, you've got the cash flow. So thanks to middle school for that complex. Number 11, keep updated on the top 20 music videos of the week. See, I always wanted to know what was hip and what was going on, and I also was totally in love with music. I grew up in a lot of choirs. I did an extracurricular choir that was it was select. It was at the local college and I was very young. Yeah, so I was always musically inclined, but I just loved music because it made me feel good. I think I still feel that way. I definitely don't feel like I'm on the cusp of what's hot. Actually, that's not true. All you have to do now is scroll TikTok and you know what's hot on the charts. But yeah, I think at the time TRL and MTV and all that was so big that I just wanted to go home and like find out what the important songs were to know and learn the words and all that kind of stuff. So that's rule number 11 for living, according to me. And rule number 12, keep candy in your diet. Okay, well, not sure I'm as much of a believer on that. Although I will say, I feel like I did pretty good in terms of still being able to eat a little bit of junk food here and there and still be able to take care of myself reasonably well. And if we have to say what kind of candy I was probably thinking of, it's Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, which I always have in the house. So there you go. I guess it worked out. Those were my 12 rules for living according to Amy Schmittauer from the 7th grade. If you're not familiar, Landino is my married name. Amy Schmittauer's rules for living in 7th grade. And I just thought nobody would find that as entertaining as me than you. So thanks for watching. Look, here's my candy obsession. It even got a page. It even got a page in the book. How ridiculous. That's hilarious. There might be content all up in this book to come in the future. 90s list of favorites. Oh, wow. That's fascinating. Maybe we'll make that an Instagram. That is hilarious. I just can't stop laughing. Okay. Do you remember anything that you thought needed to be true for your whole life when you were in the 7th grade or in middle school or really anywhere around that age? Please share something interesting or funny from your childhood, excuse me, in the comments down below so we can have a laugh together. Who knew that we are who we said we were in the 7th grade for the rest of our lives? I didn't. I just found out. That's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. Make sure you subscribe for good vibes, kiss the ones you love, and go after the life you want. Cheers. I didn't want 2 back-to-back dressing room videos, but I don't have any other choices. Oh my god. 10 ways to build self-esteem. Guys, I was doing content in binders in the 7th grade. What do you want from me? I've been doing this for my whole life. And this is apparently also where I kept Christmas cards.